Hey, this is Stephen Amell, and you are listening to Tomorrow's Legends, the podcast. Don't fail your city.
During a trip through time, the Legends were forced to land the Wave Rider in Blue Valley, Nebraska, where they discovered a young superhero.
Yes.
About to take flight.
That's cool.
Who are you?
I'm Stargirl.
Hello, Cosmic Crew. Hey, where is everyone? It's awfully dark and quiet around here. What's going on? No one's around. Okay, I guess I'll just continue. Maybe they'll show up eventually. Well, welcome to the penultimate episode of Stargirl. At the moment, it's just me, so I guess I'm here to talk about Stargirl Season 3, Episode 12, all by myself, and I'm still the very alone Flash. This is weird.
And now, here are your hosts, the Scarlet Speedster himself, the Flash, the mate.
Whoa. Gideon?
Yes, Captain.
I think it's just you and me tonight.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, look around. It's just us.
Ah, bollocks.
Yeah, exactly. But on the flip side, this could be our very first solo mission together. Well, I mean solo as in just me with you, but this could be fun.
We should talk about this before proceeding.
Nah, don't be so worried. We can handle it. Just do what you always do.
So it's business as usual then?
Yep. Punch it, Gideon.
Right away, Captain.
Gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe.
All right. The joke is up. I know, pretty lame, but it is just me, the Flash, here, hanging with you guys tonight. I just wanted to come in with a little bonus episode because I missed out on last week. Flash has just been dealing with a lot of stuff, and I'm sure Xforce 11 and Harley explained a little bit to you guys on last show. Just dealing with a very sick cat. So I don't want to talk too much about it on the show here, but for those of you that are concerned, he is home and he is doing better. He's on the mend, but he's got lots of work to do to beat the illnesses he was fighting. So thank you everybody for that, and sorry I couldn't be there last week, but I'm here. I wanted to get in my thoughts on the second last episode of Stargirl. I want to let you guys know I have not watched the finale yet. I know it aired a couple days ago, but I've been hanging on because first of all, I've been busy with what I'm dealing with my cat, but I also did not want to watch it until I could come in and share my thoughts, because in listening to the podcast that Harley and Xforce did, which, by the way, guys, you did a fantastic job. I was joking with them that they don't even need me anymore. The two of them are just fine. Did a wonderful job. But they had a lot of great thoughts and a lot of things they were wondering about how I was feeling or how I was thinking. So I wanted to come in and just share a few thoughts about the episode. This is going to be a full 2-hour episode. It's not even going to be an hour. It's probably going to be a very, very short one because I just have a couple things I want to say. I'm not going to dive into full episode breakdown and in-depth solo discussion here because you already heard it all from those guys. So I just want to get caught up and let you know what I thought of this episode. So we're going to kick it off with my rating for episode 12, which you guys remember was called The Last Will and Testament of Sylvester Pemberton. I am giving this one a 9 head shakes while saying, what? Now, what can I say? Where has this writing been all season? I think I heard our friend Perry White say the exact same thing. Yes, this episode was brilliant in what they pulled off, and the acting was the best we've seen from all characters in an episode. But why, oh why, did this depth of storytelling not be there from the beginning? All that wasted time on the gambler murder mystery was a bust, because we simply didn't care. And yes, you make me feel guilty, Stargirl, stupid TV show, for busting on Joel McHale and his portrayal of Starman all season long, and I don't appreciate that. But it's not my fault. You wrote him to be awful, and he was awful. The reveal makes sense in hindsight, sure, but the sheer lack of enjoyment of the character tarnishes the whole season still. It was awesome, but it was rushed. It was fantastic, but it's a little too late. It was a shining note of writing excellence, but now you can't continue to prove that you can do it again, writers. And everything is just such a shame because of all of that. Doesn't affect my rating. I mean, this episode was so good, but I'm just telling you, like, we should have had this all season long and not save it for the very end when the show is coming to a close. Anyway, let's get into my few talking points for this episode.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
So I just wanted to make a couple points here. I really enjoyed the flashback that we got. I don't know how many years ago that was, 40 years ago or whatever, when everything was black and white. And it actually ran on for quite a while. I think when I was looking at the clip, it was a good 6 or 7 minutes at the beginning of the episode, maybe even a little bit longer. But the old days, showing it black and white, and the clothing style and the behavior of the people, and then the words and the language, the way they spoke, just everything. It was so very detailed, and I appreciated that. So I just wanted to point that out. Also in that opening scene, Dolores, who we know is Ultra Humanite in her body, that scene when she takes that guy out with her trophy was extremely violent, and I was in complete shock that they allowed that much violence on Stargirl. This is a family-friendly show, and that was a near R-rated sequence. I mean, they didn't show a lot of blood, so that's kind of where they got away from it. But the like I said, the sheer violence of it, that was the strongest in that amount of, I don't know, just anger and explosiveness and wanting to hurt somebody that Stargirl's never had before. So that really surprised me. And I kind of felt like the gorilla was already inside Ultra Humanite. It's like he was the gorilla first and then became Dolores, because that was just so animalistic, just the way he pounced on her or on the guy and just started beating him like a gorilla does. I mean, that's what gorillas do. They jump on someone and they just beat you to death and don't even stop. So it was almost like a foreshadowing in a way that the gorilla is like a perfect host body for the Ultra Humanite, because that's exactly his I don't know what you call it, personality or his behavior patterns. It just blew me away that we had that much violence on Stargirl. And actually, it leads me to a question, because I don't know anything about the Ultra Humanite or know much about him. So maybe you guys can send in a message, or maybe Xforce can let us know. But is the Ultra Humanite known to be that violent? That's kind of one question that I want to have answered myself. Now, I just want to make a quick note about Rick and his scene that he had in the bathroom. I'm glad they're not letting his story go untold or unfinished. I'm not sure what's coming in the finale with him, but I just like to see that he is suffering from the addiction. We were all speculating about the addiction and what's going on there, and it does give us the answer that yes, he is addicted. It's very much like being hooked on cocaine or something, and him trying to withdraw is just too much. I mean, his first how many days, how many weeks has he been on the hourglass now? And this, to me, it feels like this was his first time taking it off, and it was just too much. He couldn't handle it, the pain and the pulling away. Like it was very interesting to see how it was affecting him, but it's just too much, and he's got to put it back on again. So I just really loved seeing that, and I loved that he shows up at Courtney's house and just says, I need help. I loved it. You guys know I've enjoyed Rick so much, and I just wish we got more of him and more of his story. So I just really appreciated that they gave him this little bit, that he's finally going to his friends for help, because that's all he has left. That's his family. That's everything around him. Like he explained a few episodes ago when I chose him as my favorite scene, when he's like, I'll always be there for you guys. I will always have your back. Now he's going to them for help, and I really love that for him. I also wanted to bring up a point about the music in this episode. It was imposing throughout from start to finish. It just gave this sense of building dread and looming doom the entire time from start to finish. I just really, really love that. Sometimes the music can really push a sense of what you're supposed to feel. And this time it just gave me the sense of dread, and it was excellent by the composers, whoever's doing it. Beautiful job. The other thing I really want to touch on, like I said in my opening monologue, is the acting was absolutely excellent all around by the entire cast, everybody. I think it's the best we've seen all season, if not the entire series. This episode, they brought it. And I'm even talking about even the little bit parts that were very limited in their screen time. If they only had one line to say, or, you know, they got to be in one scene for the whole episode, even those very small moments, they really pulled out their best to amp up the tension and the drama of this episode. Like, I really, really want to give hats off, kudos, pats on the back, whatever analogy you can think of for every single actor on the show. They did such a wonderful job, and I just hope it continues into the finale. I can't wait to see what happens. Now, the last note I'm going to get on here, and this is, I think, what Xforce and Harley were really wondering about with me, is where my thoughts are with Starman, with Joel McHale, with his performance, and with everything that was going on with him. So I'm going to say it right here. I'm all by myself. I'm going to just completely bow my head and admit my defeat. I'm eating my yellow suit right now as we speak, all right? I'm shoving it in all the way. Gloves, pants, shirt, helmet, boots, everything. I'm eating it all. This one episode, Joel McHale turned it around so spectacularly and showed me what he can do. And I give him full credit because he played a villain, being an actor, being a hero. And that's some serious layers in performance that I never saw the depth of. And I mean, even in the scene when he's blasting Pat, all I could think of was, yep, this guy is a huge capital A hole. And I hate him even more now. But it just, the turnaround, the reveal, like this was probably one of the single best reveals that somehow managed to elude us through the entire three seasons of this show. You just didn't see it coming, and I have to give all my props to Joel McHale for being able to cover that up in the layers of his performance. It just blew me away. And what it makes me wonder is how much in that scene with Pat, like how much of what he was saying could actually be true though. Like he's blaming Pat. He says, "You kept calling me on the radio and you were distracting me, and it's because of that I died. I got killed because you were distracting me." And it makes me wonder, could that be possible? Could Pat have distracted him enough that his attention was not focused on the fight and he got killed? I mean, there has to be some truth in what he's saying there. I mean, there was truth in everything that he was saying, because as we learn as the episode goes on, that the Ultra Humanite becomes whatever body he's taking over. He becomes that person. He becomes the role so deeply. So, you know, I'll get into my other points about where he gets his knowledge from, but he obviously knows Starman very, very well, and he's pulling on something there. He's pulling on some actual hard facts and evidence there that I wonder if this is going to sit with Pat. We're never going to find out, but I wonder if this is going to sit with Pat for a long time. Like, is he going to start to feel guilty over this? You know, because I think there's got to be some truth to that. But anyway, like I said, I'm eating my suit. Joel McHale really pulled it off, and a lot of the stuff makes sense now. I have some questions about that. We're going to dive into it, but yes, I will give him full credit for his performance of Starman all season long and completely fooling us. So there. Are you happy? So I got some things I want to talk about here. Ultra Humanite. He's addicted, for lack of better description, to the acting and becoming the role, which kind of explains how he fools everyone. No matter whose body he's in, he's fooled everybody. And to me, that's some serious research into your character. And, you know, like he explained it himself, he likes to become the role. And sometimes he forgets that he's actually playing the part. He forgets that it's him because he's taken on the role so deeply. But I have a question here. How does swapping your brain into another person's body allow you to remember their entire lives? Because I just can't see him being able to learn that much about the characters. I don't know what they use on Earth 2, if they Google people or if they can dig into some history records or something. I mean, I know we see him go around. I went to talk to Pat's wife or ex-wife, and I went to talk to so-and-so, and I did this and I did that. But you still can't learn so much in-depth detail about those characters. And so I'm kind of wondering, is there maybe some residual effect of memories in other body parts? Like you've heard like muscle memory, y'all know that term. If you do something repeatedly enough that your muscles just remember and they do it more automatically. And you've also heard that muscles and other parts of your body can actually medically retain memory somehow, which to me just blows me away, because the brain is so powerful. But how can other parts of your body actually retain thoughts and process and memory? But it's been medically proven that it can happen. So maybe that's what's going on here. I mean, I get that he studies his role so in depth so he can become that person. I mean, that's what they were trying to sell us on in this episode, but he was giving so much detail that seemed way too personal than being able to study someone's life from the outside. Like, does that make sense? Does it make sense what I'm trying to explain? Like, he had some really, really deep personal details about people's lives, about the bodies that he's inhabiting now, that you just can't find out by asking his friends or by asking people that know them or by studying them from photo books or something. I don't know. It just seems to me like there was way too much detail there for him to just learn, that it's making me question all this stuff about inhabiting someone's body. Like when you put your brain into someone else's body and you have to make all those synaptic connections and whatever, does his brain then now connect to the residual memories that are left over in the various body parts, and that's where he's getting some of his information from? Or does it have to do with his mental abilities? We know the alternate humanite has mental abilities, different, like telepathy and telekinesis and different things like that. So when he attaches himself to a body, does his power somehow enable him to know these bodies intimately? Or can he somehow glean memories and info from a dead brain that he's swapping with? Like, maybe when he takes that person's brain out, or maybe it's even before the surgery, maybe his mental abilities allows him to link to that brain and virtually download all of their thoughts and memories in their entire lives into his brain, and that now it becomes part of his memory, part of his life, and that's why he's able to live the role so well and fool everybody. I don't know. Anyway, those are my thoughts and those are my questions, and that's what I'm kind of wondering. Maybe after Xforce and Harley, if they listen to this, maybe they have some thoughts or some answers for me. But there you go. So that's what I had to say about this episode. I know Harley and Xforce had a lot more questions, a lot more things they wanted me to clarify on. They'll just have to ask me again live on the next episode, because I can't remember anything. I don't want to sit here and try to listen to their podcast again while I'm speaking. But anyway, there's some thoughts for you guys. And to make this as normal as an episode as possible, I do have a favorite scene, because I didn't get to play one last week. That's not fair. And I listened to what their favorites were. Beautiful scenes, of course. So I'm going with one myself. Let's get into favorite scenes. Here we go.
Shape out an eagle!
So I'm calling mine Starring Reveal. And this is the first half of when Sylvester was burying Pat. He gives us a big reveal of a lot of information, and it goes on and on. I didn't want to play the entire clip because that scene's like 7-8 minutes long. It's just part of it that I wanted to play, and I'll say a few things about it after. So here's Starring Reveal.
How what? Do I control the staff? I'm Starman. What?
Well, I'm Starman now. And as Dolores Winters said in the confidence game, you've been had, kiddo.
You're the ultra humanite.
Well, bingo.
Where's Sylvester?
Oh, well, Dr. McNider was right about the cosmic energy preserving the body, but Sylvester's brain? That's long gone. We had some fun, didn't we, Pat? Back in the old days? Star-Spangled Kid and Stripesy, alongside the 7 Soldiers of Victory. Huzzah!
What the hell are you talking about?
Oh, you remember? After Ted gave me the staff? Starman and the JSA. Those are the big leagues. And now, it's Starman and Stripe. We made a real team again. Those are great times. Sad we won't have that anymore. 'Cause you're my friend. My brother. I'm sorry it has to end like this.
You're not Sylvester.
Oh. Right, yes, of course. Yeah, sometimes I get lost in the role. I just forget.
Yeah, so that kind of ties into what I was saying, is he seems to have so much personal detail about his life and his time with Pat and the things that happen in the JSA. Like, how does he know so much? Unless some of the things that I was discussing are correct. So, I don't know. And it's the scene, it's good and it's bad. Like, I love it because of how much information we're getting, and we're getting all the answers, and we're getting everything that we've been wondering about. And it's a scary scene because Pat's being buried alive, and of course he's going to come. They're not going to kill Pat. Do they kill Pat? I don't know. I haven't watched the finale yet, but I'm feeling like, no, he can't. They can't be buried, but he got buried alive. So what a cliffhanger to end on. But what I don't like about the scene is that the showrunners know that this is the end. We got 1 episode left. We got to cram in every possible answer, and why not do it with a villain monologue that lasts for 8 minutes long, where he tells the heroes everything, giving them all the information they need to beat him. And it's like, you could have just, sent out little bits of this throughout the season, just little bits here and there to get us thinking, to get us talking, to get us wondering, and instead of dumping it all at the very end. And it's just giving me that feeling like, here goes Stargirl again. They wasted so much time building everything up, but they're going to wrap it all up in one quick moment on the last episode. It's just, so I'm really, really crossing my fingers that doesn't happen. Next week, haha, the episode's already aired, so the time that I get to it. Anyway, let's move in to feedback, because guess what? There is some feedback that got missed last week by Harley and Xforce. Let's do that.
It's feedback, your time to speak up. Believe it or not, what you think and you say means a lot to us. But why should we sit here and wait if you won't hurry up? So feedback, or simply shut up.
Yes, who would think there'd be feedback on a bonus episode that I'm just throwing in for fun? Well, our dear friend and my dear friend Dreamweaver sent in an email thinking we're going to be recording on our normal time and everything was normal, and she just squeaked it in right time. But the problem was that Harley and Xforce, because they were without me, they got to start a lot earlier than they usually do because they're 2 hours ahead, and they usually just wait for me to get home and get everything prepped and ready to go. So we start a little bit later. We start at 7 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock their time, but they got to start earlier. So Dreamweaver, you missed the cutoff and you had no idea. So it's not your fault. But the positive light out of this is that I get to read your feedback. I get to answer it. And you and me get to have a little one-on-one here, as if this is our very own show, just you and me. So there we go. So I get to read Dreamweaver's email. She says, "Hey guys, just an email this week, and I know I'm super late. Here it goes. Hello, Cosmic Crew. Dreamweaver here with my feedback for the penultimate episode of Stargirl Season 3, The Last Will and Testament of Sylvester Pemberton. And I apologize for the email, but I just didn't have time to sit down and record it this week. I will say, not everything in this episode was a complete surprise due to all of our speculation, but some things were definitely a surprise. Before we get to all the surprises, let's take a quick stock of where all the characters are at, seeing as there could possibly be only one episode of Stargirl left ever. Artemis, hardcore grieving for her parents and being talked down from killing Icicle. Next week will probably be her first and only official outing as a member of the JSA. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to answer all your points because this gives me something to discuss instead of just babbling on all by myself. So I did like the Artemis stuff. I love that this character is performing or getting a chance to perform and show us a little bit of what she's got and kind of flesh out her story a bit, because it sucks. It sucks that her parents were killed. Like, you've got a 14-year-old girl that's on her own now. What is she going to do? Where's she going to live? Who's going to take care of her? So it's just, it's just a shame. And the fact that, the scene with her and Starman actually was really good. He kind of talks her down and, kind of sets her on the right path, which is it's just crazy because Starman is Ultrahumanite and he's showing that he does kind of care for these people a little bit. So he's getting lost in the role on that sense as well. But yeah, I'll be curious to see if she does actually join the team in the big fight in the finale. I'll be curious about that. Our next point. Mike and Jakeem have Cindy on their side, but too much traction in personal stories, and I doubt there's time for Mike to confront his mom. Yeah, that's probably a storyline that's just going to have to end. I don't think they have time to go to it. I think even if they did, it would take valuable time away from the finale if they show us him talking to his mom, because honestly, do we all really care? Not really. I mean, it was a nice thing for Pat to get going on, but there's just no time to finish that story up. So, and the stuff with Mike and Jakeem and Cindy, I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable. I know Cindy let them join her because they're the only two that are showing her any interest, but they're useless to her. It's just, I guess Jakeem proved his worth by wishing properly, and it got them to the right location of one of the laboratories. I guess it worked, but still, they're useless in a fight. It's just silly. I don't know why she would even want to spend any time with them. But anyway. Our next point. The Shade, Jenny, and Todd are off helping Sandy Dodds, and we probably won't see Infinity Inc. I just think there's no time for it. I agree with you on that. There's just no time for it. I mean, if they show up for the big final battle because they're suddenly needed, cool. And I'll swallow my words, but I just don't think they'll be included in it. We'll see. And this could be interesting for everybody listening to this. Most of you have probably watched the finale, so you're listening to me speculate about the finale that you already know has happened, and I don't have a clue. So that could be fun. Our next point. Rick is getting help, finally, admitting that he needed help, but it looks like he was at the point where he's been using the hourglass so much that taking it off is giving him seriously intense withdrawal symptoms. Yep, I already talked about Rick, so I'm totally with you there. Yolanda is still estranged from her family, but at this point staying away to protect them. Yeah. Again, we don't have time to watch Yolanda make amends with her mom, so it's not needed. I hope they don't spend any time on the final episode doing that, but yeah, she's got to do what she's got to do. Not many changes for Beth, but with the whole season being a back and forth about how involved her parents should be, I'm wondering if that will come to some kind of head in the finale. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with Beth. Let her parents help her design a better costume. That would be cool. That's all I can ask for. That's all I ever want to see. Like I said, her mom as the doctor to help the team behind the scenes is cool, and that's what she needs to be. Barbara is the mother of every child on this show. I want to see her use that crossbow against Jordan to both avenge Paula and also as some catharsis for her from the first season. Yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be fun for her to use the crossbow and actually connect and maybe hit somebody just to pay off her time with Paula. That would be cool to see. And yeah, she is becoming the mom of all the characters. I mean, Rick's there to help now. I'd like to see Barbara maybe she should be a counselor. Maybe that's her role. I don't know. Cameron still believes his dad is a good guy, and I know I was on the fence about his true intentions last week, but this week I'm pretty firmly on the side of Jordan being up to no good. well, I guess you've seen the finale, so you probably know better than I do. I don't know. I really wavered on Jordan. Yeah. You guys heard my thoughts. I think he's going to be the one to stop his dad from going crazy. Or he might even be the one that, you know, when he sees his dad killing Courtney or something, he's going to be the one that steps in and saves her. And maybe ultimately kills his dad in doing that. I don't know. Interesting. I wonder how right or wrong I am on some of these speculations, because you've all seen the finale. Courtney is staffless. After standing up to Sylvester this episode, I want to see her do it again on an even bigger level next week, and finally see her become the leader of the JSA that we all know she can be. And hopefully we see Cosmo choose her once and for all. That is something I do not know what happens, because right now Starman has Cosmo, and he seems to be in control of it. So what is going to get Cosmo to go back to Courtney? Is there a breaking point for Cosmo? Like, is Cosmo inherently good? And if Starman asks him to do evil by killing innocent people, will Cosmo actually refrain and push back on that? That's what I'm curious about. They did not give us enough explanation of Cosmo and how sentient he is, or what it, you know, how much control of itself it has. So I'm very curious about that. I'm very curious how Courtney pulls it back. Because right now, without Cosmo, she is completely useless. She's as useless as Beth is. Yeah, she's acrobatic gymnast, but she can't fight. She can't do anything. So how she's going to get in there and fight, I have no idea, other than going in there and trying to somehow draw Cosmo to her, and that distracts Starman, and it's like a big tug of war that I just don't see what else can happen there. I don't know. As she goes on, I'm also glad that they haven't let Mr. Deisinger's death fall to the wayside, with there being an explicit mention of him having a vigil, and now all of the kids acknowledging it. I bet it'll come out in the finale that the grandparents are responsible, and Cameron will see his whole family for who they are. Yes, this is the first time in Stargirl's 3 seasons that there has been acknowledgement of something happening, and it's good. But they're having a vigil because all they said was he's missing. They never said he died. They never said they found the body. They never said anything. It's just he's been missing for days. So what that means to the town, I don't know. Have they started looking for him? Have they given up looking for him? I don't know. But at least they acknowledged it. That's all I can ask, I guess. For the first time at the very end of the show. All right, next point. And now for the surprises. First off, I really enjoyed the flashback opening with seeing Dragon King, pre-Lizard, and Ultra Humanite in the body of the actress. That scene had a really nice old-time Hollywood feel to it, while still having the Stargirl timeless feel to that we've come to know. I totally agree with you. That's what I was talking about early in my points. So yeah, definitely with you there. And while I figured that Dragon King had something to do with everything going on besides being part of Ultra Humanite's backstory, I wasn't expecting his brain to be in the gorilla. That was a twist. And while I thought that Starman was under the control of Humanite, I didn't think that he would be the Humanite. It's Starman's body, but it was never truly Starman. That was good. Totally with you there, and I know Harley and Xforce were totally surprised and shocked and just absolutely loved it as well. I mean, Dragon King being in the gorilla's body, who would have guessed that? I did not guess it. So it was like a triple body swap or something, or double body swap. It was just crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And for the Humanite to be Starman and to find out that he's been Starman the entire time, not even just this season, since they introduced him, since Sylvester first came on the scene, when we saw all the flashbacks, he was the one checking out Pat's ex-wife, and all of those historical points in time. It was just crazy. It all comes together and it all makes sense. And X-Force, I do remember you saying that both of you gave me the credit for being right all along from the moment we saw Starman go to see Pat's ex-wife at the restaurant, when he was adjusting his face in the rearview mirror of the car, and I knew there was something fishy about that. Thank you for giving me the credit, and I'll just pat myself on the back now that I got it right. I mean, I didn't have the exact answer, but I was right that something was up with him, and it wasn't really him. So, woohoo to me. Can I get a little cheer maybe? Let's see. There we go. All right, so Dreamweaver continues. Props to you guys and everyone here for noticing way back at the end of Season 1 or beginning of Season 2 when he showed up in LA for calling out that something was wrong with him. Well, there you go. She just said what I was just saying. Yes, it was awesome. And now I'm particularly worried for Pat. It didn't look good for him at the end of this episode. Every time I see someone getting buried alive in a film or TV show, I get the chills. It's so creepy. And as far as we know, no one knows where he is or that he's in trouble. So I'm wondering if either he managed to crawl away while Sylvester was monologuing and we just didn't see it, or someone gets there quick. We can't lose Stripesy just before the end, not after Courtney essentially called him Dad this episode. Yeah, see, that's... I can't buy that he escaped. He was taped up or tied up really, really well. He was immobile. There's absolutely no way that he could get out and crawl out of there without Sylvester noticing. There's no way. So my belief right now is that he was buried because Sylvester was going on and on for quite a while there while continuing to throw dirt on him, and it just eventually filled up. So how Pat gets out of that, I don't know. I think they're all going to acknowledge or realize that he's gone. But how do they find where he is? Who knows? They're out in the middle of the forest. So my guess, that does Grundy come back to life and dig him out? I don't know. I have no idea. Scary, yes, and interesting. We'll see what happens. She goes on. My biggest gripe is how long Sylvester's monologue was. I'm all for a villain monologue to fill in some holes, and especially like it when it's layered with scenes of characters discovering the things that are being revealed to balance the show and tell rather than it be all tell. But Sylvester's was all tell, without it being edited in with other characters figuring things out, and he explained things that did not need to be explained to us. Things we could connect ourselves as audience members if we've been watching the season. We didn't need to know each little moment of him manipulating the kids. We could put that together ourselves as we questioned it with each individual episode. The biggest standout for this issue for me was when he talked about the limiter when early in the episode Beth mentioned that she had found some research that said his father had suffered the same issue. With the way that Sylvester said it, it just became redundant with no new layers to it. Yeah, and we're this is why this you and me talking about your feedback right here is kind of fun, Dreamweaver, because we're once again on the very same wavelength. I agree with you totally. It was too much. It was too long. It was a whole crash of information that we just didn't need, and it's like let's give them everything because our viewers are stupid. Here you go. So I'm with you. Other than that, a pretty solid penultimate with fun twists, excitement, and suspense. And for the finale, especially seeing what Jordan's final play is. I'm giving this episode 8.5 flamethrower packs out of 10. Did I mention that Pat with that flamethrower gave me a big Ghostbusters vibe? That was fun, and seeing him in his stripesy suit. Anyway, that's all for now. So until next time, the finale of Stargirl, your friend Dreamweaver. Yeah, that I thought that too. As soon as I saw that, Ghostbusters, I mean, obviously, it was an obvious nod to Ghostbusters, except, they didn't shoot flames. But very fun. Very fun. Awesome. Dreamweaver, great thoughts, fun. I'm glad I got to respond to them. And sorry you missed out on the actual main episode, but hopefully this makes up for it a little bit, because I know you're probably sitting there going, dang, I sent in this big, long email, and they didn't even read it. They didn't even get it. But, I'm making up for it. I got your back. Don't worry. Like Rick has all of their backs, I got yours. So, everybody, Xforce reminded you guys that you have an extra week to send in feedback for the finale. So far, I'm looking at our emails. We only have one feedback so far. So I'm hoping everybody's watched the finale. I'm hoping everybody's enjoyed it. I've been watching the social webs about it, and it seems kind of mixed. I see people loving it. I see people going, So I'm kind of curious myself, but we want to know. We want to know what you guys think. This is your last chance. Harley was adamant about that. This is your last chance to say anything about Stargirl ever again. So get in your feedback to Tomorrow's Legends. Let us know how you thought about the finale. We like they also said, we don't know if we're going to do a special, a special like we did for Legends, like I did for Arrow Squad, where we haven't discussed it. We're unsure yet. So get in your feedback about the finale and get in your feedback about the show as a whole. What did you think of Stargirl? How sad are you that it's done? That's what we want to know. In order to do that, listen to this.
If you would like to be a part of the show, you can send in your feedback to Tomorrow's Legends Podcast at gmail.com. You can also reach us on Twitter at Tomorrow's Legends. We'd love you to join our Facebook page at facebook.com/groups/Tomorrow's Legends and become part of the community.
All right, there you go. That is your bonus. Episode 12, part 2, I guess you could call it. Just a Flash talking at you. Hopefully it was at least a little bit enjoyable, and those of you that were curious about what does Flash think, well, now you know. I didn't get into it as deeply as we would have normally, but hey, now you got some thoughts. So I will be back with the team in a week. Yeah, I guess we're doing it in a week when we do the finale. I'm not going to miss out on that. It's the end of the show. It's the end of Stargirl, and yeah, lots to hopefully discuss. I'm going to be watching it right after I'm done recording. This guy's going to go check it out and see how it went. The other thing I want you guys to remember is Patreon. Get in some Patreon support to us if you feel like we're doing a good job and you really want to let us know with your financial windfalls. Just go to patreon.com/Tomorrow's Legends and you can support the show in that sense. I neglected to play the clip this episode, but I figured you hear it enough. You didn't hear it tonight, so we appreciate all our Patreon supporters, everyone that's there checking this out, and we will get a new Patreon hangout started soon, so we'll let you know about that too. But seriously, guys, we really, really do appreciate all your support there. That's all I got for you tonight. This is The Flash, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Flash is out.
Tomorrow's Legends is not affiliated with CBS, Warner Brothers, HBO, or the CW. We're a fan-made podcast for entertainment purposes only and are part of the Cybercast Network. Be sure to check out our partner shows, The Mandalore and Dive into DC, covering your favorite Star Wars and DC Comics properties. Thanks for listening.
Hey, Gideon.
Yes, Captain.
That was actually kind of fun. Just you and me for tonight, Like, we should do it again. Like, maybe we should just kind of keep this going. Me and Gideon and Flash. What do you think?
You're dreaming.
No.